Breaking news, the Eternia has leaked, or at least the price and all the details. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it leaked. Was it on purpose? Is the price good or over? I don't know, but we're here to talk about it on this episode of Toy Geeks. And with me, as always, is my good friend John. John, shocking news this morning. I did not expect it. As I got up, wiped away the sleepy out of my eyes and stuff, and I was like, wait, what?
What's this? What's this trickery?
What the devil? Like in a world where this whole backer thing has gotten really cynical, at least on the ghostwriter side, I feel like this is good news. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna dig into the actual the person who I think broke it, Tango El Porter. We're gonna look at their post. There's also a Twitter post that actually shows the Mattel Creations listing, which I think pretty much locks us in. This is even though it's a leak, it's a pretty locked in leak. And we'll talk about the price. We'll talk about all the details of it, and then we'll probably close out on it. Like, was this a purposeful leak? I think that's an important topic as well. Want to say hello to the chat. Hopping even at 9:30 in the morning. Giraffe, yeah, Alpha Tryon, SXHBK, Birds and Boxes. Roberto Suarez is here. Scott Baker, Smedberg, Steven Lestard, Ronald Hoover is here. Pop actor, Mecha Man Blade, Totally Red Dad, JG, Angel Cano, Michael Miller is here. Jack Lord, Boo Cat, Master Far, Giorlico, Caveman, Jeff Morris is here too. Fake Wood Table, Master Blaster is here. Michael Warby, Leonard Payton is here. Bethany Jordan, Phineas, Freaky Tiki, Fake Wood Table, Dave J, Kayla Silva, Jay Andrews, David Stevens, Anonymous Dude, Mecha Man Blade again, Jordan from Canada. We've also got some people from the UK. It's nice when we do these early ones. Our UK friends show up. Tony, Darth, Shui, Jack Lord, and so many more. All right, let's jump into it because one, if you haven't given Tango El Porter a follow, you need to. They do a fantastic job. I feel like they've got the scoop a lot of times, so please give them a follow. This is how I, first became aware of it this morning. Is this how you saw it as well, John?
Yeah, same. Instagram, just checking the news, just seeing what's going on, and there it is.
Oh my gosh! And the price of $550, the 5,000 backer limits. King Grayskull or El Rey Grayskull is their early bird, which is kind of more of a true early bird. And it launching on October 12th. And so much there. These pictures also kind of give us some detailed views. Again, I have my footage from Comic-Con I'm plus in a little bit, but more images. Something of note, the snake is movable, which I thought was pretty cool in these pictures. And then when you see the back, the Snake Mountain Tower actually probably has a little control for the figures, which the original one does not. It's just
like a rod inside.
Yeah. Back of the dungeon. So again, some first looks, some new looks of this, clearly kind of leaked from the Maddie Collector site. And then a relatively smaller Twitter account, but it's focused on MOTU Origins Cork, posted these images straight from the Mattel Creations page, which gives us all of the details about these. So let's pull those up in greater detail. And where is it at? Where'd you go? Oh, why is it not open? Oh, hold on, let me open it up again. Let's try this again. There we go. Now it should be an option for me to share screen to. Perfect. Okay. So $550. It's gonna be $50 shipping, so $60 all in, at least in the States. I don't know if we have our European coverage selected yet. But join for the Battle of Eternia Locked in Everlasting War. The Eternia playset is swarming with action-packed features, hidden surprises, the Grayskull Tower, Viper Tower, and Eternia Tower as the forces of good and evil wage war. So we have our dimensions for the first time. You ready for this, John?
Yep.
Oh, hold on. Let me go back a little more. 3 feet by 4 feet. That's big.
Yeah.
And that's not including height. I feel like height's probably bigger, right? Because the 3 by 4 is probably length and width, not height.
No, it's got to be 4 feet wide, 3 feet tall.
You think 3 feet tall?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Working battle tram, elevators, trapdoors, and more. King Grayskull is a standard Origins figure at 16 points of articulation. And it's available for the Crusaders who braved to crowdfund during the first week. And it's at 5,000 backers. You get the Eternia playset and the early backer bonus if you all orders receive. So it's not we have to hit so and so many by this time. Any order received between 10/12 and 10/19 will receive the King Grayskull figure as a throw-in. So it's not so much like a tier. It's if you are an early backer, you get this reward. Yeah, because this item is large and heavy, a surge charge of $50 will apply to U.S. orders. And clearly, if it's XX right here, they haven't quite calculated the international shipping cost yet, which is probably why it hasn't posted yet. But John, so much to unpack here. What's your first takes?
It's big. Like where is everybody going to put this thing?
I don't know.
I think a lot of people, including myself, are going to be more where am I going to put it over how am I going to pay for it? You know,
Yes.
I think the where am I going to put it is going to be a bigger problem than the cost. I think a lot of us will just justify spending the money on it.
Mm-hmm.
But finding a place to put it, this is going to be sitting on floors for the most part, I think. This isn't going to be a shelf item. This is going to be like it's a floor play set for forever. It's like a USS Flag situation.
I mean, that's a good point. I did a short a little while ago. I measured my Eternia playset. And I think Orion has one as well because he's calling this out. The tower on this one is about 36 inches. When you include the flags, maybe a little bit more. And what was it, like 23 inches deep and like 20 or 30 something inches long. So it is bigger on every level. Mm-hmm. And I have a table that mine sits on, and it just fits on that table. I can't imagine a bigger thing I could make to display this thing on a shelf. There is no shelf that will contain this.
No. But I mean, as far as the price goes, like the base price, $550, not too bad. I think it's sort of sitting right in there. You know, a lot of us guessed a little lower. A lot of us guessed higher. Like this is, I think it's a good in the middle, reasonable. You know, there's a lot there. There's a ton there. And then when we do have other things to compare it to, price wise, you know, other crowdfund things, I think 550 it's a good price.
Yep.
Go
ahead.
But so $50 shipping as well as a $50 surcharge.
Is that what that said?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't I just say, okay, whatever.
So because this item is large and heavy, a surcharge of $50 will apply to U.S. orders.
Gotcha. Okay.
So probably at least 100 for international orders. And that's just because of dimensional weight. It doesn't matter like the poundage when a package gets so big.
Yeah.
You know, that gets included. They have to add that. And I thought it would definitely be $100 in shipping. Like $50 in shipping is just too little. It's way too they definitely negotiated a good price on shipping.
Yeah, they probably had some type of like freight deal or something. Right?
Yeah. And they use Mattel Creations typically uses FedEx. I think for bigger packages, FedEx is the cheapest.
Yeah.
So $650, $700 with tax. that's still, I'm okay.
Well, I do have I think KMD baby. We had like an office pool on our Patreon Discord.
Yeah.
He called the 549, and but I think the thing that is shocking to me, one, I think it's a reasonable price. I don't think it's overpriced. I don't think it's underpriced. I think it's a reasonable price, like you were saying.
Yep.
But I think what makes it more reasonable is the backer tier, or to get it backed. And maybe this will sound, I don't want to sound flippant, but 5,000 seems like a pretty low threshold to match the reasonable price, right? Because usually the calculus we figure is, okay, if you have a higher backer limit, the price could be lower. If you have a lower backer limit, they're guaranteed money, the price will probably be higher. And I feel like the calculus here of only, again, you can call me crazy if I say only 5,000, but compared to HasLabs, which are like usually in the 8,000 to 9,000 ballpark, the 5,000 min for the backing and that 550, when you put them all together, that seems really reasonable. Does that sound right, John?
Yeah. 100% right. 5,000 minimum. I mean, I was guessing this would either have to be, okay, so a 5,000 minimum at 550. I would have expected an 8,000 minimum at 550, or like you said, a 9,000 minimum. Because when we do look at the HasLabs, the Ghost Rider car, 4,000 more people need to back that at 350. So at put it this way, at 9,000 people at $350 a piece, that's $3.15 million.
Yep.
550 at 5,000 backers is $2.75 million. It's a $400,000 difference of this failing compared to a HasLab or the Ghost Rider car fail.
Yep.
That is crazy, considering the tooling for this is the steel molds are going to be
gigantic, right? Like it is in sections, but it's gigantic.
Yeah. I mean, a steel tool compared to the toy that's in it is way bigger. The basic tool is about the size of a regular sheet of paper, just printer paper. So think about like how many pieces can fit into that.
Yeah.
So the main tower, the central tower, the lower portion, the tool for that is going to be like the size, it's bigger than a washing machine. It's going to be huge. So when we think about, the comparison, it's unbelievable that we think of just that cost difference. And it makes me happy that Mattel is probably saying, well, we really want this done. Like, maybe we're not going to make much profit per piece on this, but that we're okay. Like, if we sell if we sell 10,000 of these, and after 5,000, that's when our profits start to show better. But at 5,000, it's going to get done. We don't make as much because we're covering more tooling cost.
Yep.
But that's okay. And that's kind of how I'm seeing this. Is they're more committed to this happening than other companies.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Like, it's just and I did want to plus it in here. Somebody said, where is it at? Oh, here we go. great. As pooped by Anakin Skywalker. This should be at retail, right? I understand that argument for a lot of HasLabs, right? Some I don't agree, but some, like the Hell Charger, I can understand that argument, right? You can easily see that size of a thing at retail. I don't agree with that though on this Eternia. Like, even you think the biggest retail space that Targets or Walmarts have is for, we've talked about before, about like those big Hot Wheels sets,
Yeah,
or
like Power Wheels,
or or Power Wheels, or the Barbie Dream House or whatever, like those big ticket, Christmas items. That's seasonal, and I would have to think this package is bigger than those. Like they put the Grayskull playsets in those flex spots. This is 4 times the size of a Grayskull playset.
Yeah. Yeah. This, like, one Eternia box is probably going to be equal to 5 Grayskull boxes.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the realm of retail, I mean, this is kind of the thing that even like Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth would have a hard time storing.
Yes.
It's going to be a humongous box.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Ramen Toys, putting a point on that. This should be packaged in various parts. So likely multiple shipping boxes. Can't imagine one huge refrigerator box.
Yeah, when this shows up on all of our doorsteps, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Yes. Snake Mountain retail, no excuse. And I'm incredibly poor, mostly because of MOTU. Indeed. Is this bigger than classic Snake Mountain? By square footage, it's more open than Snake Mountain, but in terms of footprint, it's bigger than Snake Mountain, right?
Yeah. I think, because I mean, the classic Snake Mountain, I think, is like 4 feet wide. So add another, or the same width as this.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit taller than this. I think it's like 40 inches tall. But again, it's just like the vintage Grayskull or the vintage Snake Mountain, where when it's folded and out, flat, it's not as deep. It might only be like 12 or 15 inches deep. So yes, it will. This is definitely a bigger footprint. This is why, like, this will take your dining table up to display this. Whereas like it's easier to display the classic Snake Mountain on a shelf.
Masters Maniac Mexico. And you telling here that we have to be thankful that Mattel is selling us a piece of plastic for over 500 bucks, I'm assuming dollars or bucks. That just shows that you are bot guys. John, did you get your Mattel paycheck yet? I haven't.
I didn't. It's probably lost in the mail, probably, or just imaginary.
Yes. Sure. Call us spot out Mattel. We're not. Did you see the video where we gave him crap for selling the He-Man stuff for $1.50?
Yeah.
Or any of the other times we've called them out? No, there's no paychecks are being bought out by anybody. I think. Damn, we're bot, you guys. We're bot. No. But I think. For starters, nobody's bought out here. And I think especially when you consider that new Grayskull playset's $100. And it's like 1/4 the size of this, right? This Castle Grayskull was about $80. It was about 1/4 the size of this. They're only at least guaranteeing making 5,000 of them. It's simple economics. It's not trying to sell you something. Don't buy it if you don't want to buy it. But it's just simple economics. Like we were thinking retail would be 4 times the cost, right? Maybe, which would put it in about $380. And you think there's that they probably made way more than 5,000 of those Grayskulls, way more than that.
Yeah.
And so you just with a lower print run, it's going to be more. So I think nothing feels out of whack. Like the Ghost Rider car, the reason why it's gone above and beyond controversial in some aspects is because the price doesn't match the plastic you're getting, right? And then you have to try and justify it by, okay, but there's some really cool figures you could get that maybe makes it hit that 350. But currently it's not trending to hit any of those. So then that 350 again just becomes, there's a disconnect.
Right.
And what we're saying is there's a match here. The 5,000 backers is low for something this big that has to be tooled. And the amount of plastic that's in it it makes sense. Like, it doesn't seem out of whack with what you're getting versus the price that you're spending. It's still expensive, but this thing is gigantic. I don't know if you've ever had or seen the original one. This one's big enough. The original one is huge. It takes up so much space. And it was $100 in, what was it? $120 in 1985.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, by inflation calculator, I'm sure that's probably around retail $400 by today. So anyways, that's the thoughts on that one. Flipper Frank will need a warehouse to store his orders. And speaking of that, hey, I don't want to say that the Ghost Rider has in trouble. And again, who knows how many how many MOTU fans or Marvel Legends fans, like maybe there's not a lot of crossover there. But in terms of like the more generalist toy collectors like you and I are, John, that like a bit of everything. And this is the thing we've been waiting for, that price. This shifts the calculus where if you were trying to think like, if you had to choose between the two, you probably go Eternia, right? Or maybe you just don't have space, so the other one's easier.
Yeah.
But all right. Let's see. Okay. Early bird, a real early bird, in the sense that anybody that backs it within this window will get a MOTU Origins King Grayskull figure. Saw it at Comic-Con. Looks really cool. And again, I like this. I don't know, John, what do you think about this approach versus we have to hit so and so many by this time in order to get it? I think it's like almost holding the figure hostage or whatever. In this case, as long as you back it within, I think 1012 to 1019, and it does fund at 5,000, you will get this figure. John, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I like that approach. I like that. They're going to give us, like, we have that time frame. I really do think that this could fund in a week. With again, with other HasLabs, they've gotten that kind of number in days. So I think everybody will get this. Will get the figure. I like, I just like how they're doing it, and I'm not saying it just because it's Mattel. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I think, it's just I don't know, it feels a lot more peaceful.
Yeah.
Like, I need that meme from the Rogue One where it's like, you're gonna be a farmer. Really, it's like, it's a peaceful life. Like, it just, I don't know. It just feels so much more relaxed. And yeah, I think I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it. Yeah, here you go. Ramen Toys. This is the definition of an early bird: locking something in within a time frame, not reaching a number.
Right.
Exactly. And it's kind of rewarding the people that back it early.
Right.
And honestly, I think just even as, and I get the Hasbro approach of just like, well, we want to try and hit the numbers early, or whatever that is. But I'd argue you're almost setting yourself up for failure, much like the what we saw with the Robbie Reyes, where it was at 6,000 whatever, and then it dropped by 600 or so after it didn't hit that day. This feels a lot more, or I would think would drive more sales. We're like, oh crap, I need to make sure I get my order in, because if I don't by this date, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm not getting it.
Right.
Don't you think that seems like a better driver of sales to me?
Yeah. Yeah. It gives you that time to say, as long as I remember to get it in there, I'm all set. I don't have to rely on like all these other people trying to, like, everybody just go back it so I can get that figure.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do what I got to do.
Yep.
So that I know that I can get it. And
yep,
when it hits 5,000, you're all set.
Yep. But yeah, I think yeah, no, I really like this. It's a lot nicer, a lot more reasonable.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to remember here, and who said it? I think Here you go, Mecha Man Blade. For me, this is the last holy grail to the collection next to Flag and Unicron. And this, I think, is where you factor in that price as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want an original one, complete, and your track is going to be broken. I don't care what you say.
You could buy a sealed one and put it together. The track's broken. Mm-hmm.
So you need to buy a repro track, which is another $100. So you're looking at $3,000 plus $100 track to have $3,000 to have one. Now, and you then compare that to this one, which it looks so much. When I first saw the images of Comic-Con, I thought they just put a vintage Eternia in there.
Yep.
But it's slightly bigger, has more features than the original one, and it'll look just as good in your display for $550 plus shipping, whatever, and taxes, whatever that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have one of the ultimate holy grail play sets, right, John? It's pretty much just Flag and Eternia is like the pinnacle of ridiculous 80s play sets, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Defiant you could put in there, but
yeah, Defiant too. But yeah, for the the overindulgent 80s size playset is Flag and Eternia. This is, I mean, it's going to be like the cornerstone of your collection.
Yeah.
I mean, like you were saying, Jay, if you want to, if you want to, bark at 550, then you don't want a vintage one at all. Like, because you'll definitely bark at $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the value of the vintage one will definitely go down. But if you are a straight vintage collector, well, that's good news for you, because then you can get one maybe for $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I joked. I was like, when this thing first showed up at Comic-Con, I was like, oh, should I sell my Eternia? That's probably not gonna be worth as much.
I mean, it's happening with the classics.
Yeah.
Every time there's a Masterverse figure release that is nice, classics version suffers.
Yep. And I do want to plus in here, friends of the channel, Toy Anxiety. This is the first ever release that's actually better than the original. And it's true. I think he also said the plastic seemed better than Origins Grayskull. Plastic looks sturdy and the details are insane. Yeah, but I'd argue the plastics on the Origins Grayskull are pretty solid too. Like, I don't think they're unsolid. But I think the other thing too to compare, like plastic that is 40 years old versus plastic that is brand new, the brand new one's always going to, well, hopefully, say that all things are equal. The newer plastic is going to be better than the old plastic, right?
Yeah.
John?
Yeah. Hopefully.
But Toy Anxiety is completely right. Like, this is better than the OG, and unequivocally. Like, there's no argument, I think, until we maybe see it in hand. And that's why I'm keeping the vintage one. So when I do a review of this, I don't know how the hell I'm going to pull off a side-by-side comparison, but I'll try.
You're going to have to take it out to the driveway.
Yeah, exactly. Something like rent an airplane hangar and then get an IMAX camera, super Panavision.
A drone.
Yeah. So we won't know for sure until we have them side-by-side. But I think from everything we've seen at Comic-Con, from all these details, this is better than the original.
Yeah.
And and if Nate does the box art, Nate Barch, friend of the channel, whew.
He'll be part of it. He will definitely be part of it.
Has to be a part of it.
If he's not, I'm not buying it.
Yeah. No Nate.
No
we
Nate.
Skate? I don't know. It better be.
But there's also potential for other, I don't want to call them tiers, because once it's 5,000, it's 5,000.
Yep.
And they haven't said anything about any other numbers. It's just possibility of other things.
Yep.
So just based on what is shown here, compared to the vintage one, we're missing that laser gun piece for the monorail and the sky cage. Now it does show the weapons rack inside.
Yep.
Different than the original, the vintage Eternia, but I kind of like this one
Yep.
this new one where they can actually hang on the wall rather than just a weapons rack that just sits on the floor, because that weapons rack is awful.
It
They can
is. It's
hold like one
terrible.
weapon.
And I have it sitting over there, and it'll fall over like if you even just look at it
Mhm.
funny. Um, no, I agree. It is better from all accounts. Um, but yeah, all the yeah, that weapons rack I think is a lot cooler for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
And the fact that he made the
Oh,
Viper Tower.
can you
Ooh,
go back to that,
which one?
the one that had the snake head picture?
Yeah.
So it's articulated?
My guess is it must have something to do with the, on when you look at the back, see, it has a little kind of
Yeah,
like
it's got like a
periscope thing.
it probably has like,
I wonder if it has like a push pull.
yeah, but it almost looks like it's on a giant ball joint too,
Yeah.
maybe.
That's why if it's an action feature, my guess is that little lever. If it's like some of the toys, like you push or pull and it'll go like,
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
my guess. Um, So I think that's really really cool. I'm adding a question to the chat right now, for the people in the chat, calling us bought out by Mattel. Is 550 a fair price? Yes or no? Poll in the chat. John, my next question here, as we're kind of rounding out this conversation, was this leak on purpose?
Um, Probably maybe not so on maybe not so on purpose, but wherever Tango gets their information, because they seem to pick things up sooner than anybody else.
Yep.
Maybe it just wasn't hidden very well.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt the Mattel deliberately sent them something,
Mm-hmm.
but they probably know where they find this, the early photos and everything.
Yep.
Maybe it was just kind of sitting there waiting to get picked up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe they figured out their cloud password and,
I in a word, I don't know. Most companies and or politicians or sports teams or whatever. Now, it doesn't always work out that way, but
Mhm.
there are real leaks and intentional leaks. And I kind of would think this is an intentional leak in the sense of like, okay, we don't know how this is going to be received. Let's get a feeler for how the community feels about this price,
Right.
right?
Similar to how they put it in the case at San Diego.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, and because it's been Mum's the word since Comic-Con.
Mhm.
On the page, the Eternia said coming soon, and they removed the coming soon for a while, like a couple weeks ago. And
Mhm.
now I think it says coming soon again. And and they might have been just like they see maybe all the hullabaloo over the Ghost Rider HasLab.
Mhm.
And so maybe there's like, like let's see how they're feeling about this. But
And and I mean, if anybody from Mattel watches
they
anybody,
do.
you know, and they're looking in the comments, so many of them I'm waiting on Eternia. I wanna know what the Eternia price is.
Yep. Yep. Um, I know some do. They have said, like when I was at Comic Con, they said they watch and enjoy. I don't know if any of like Power. I don't know if anybody in Power does, but some of the team that works on it does. But yeah, didn't yeah, definitely putting out feelers is the feel of that. Next question is: a Super 7 product at $5 overpriced? Well, yeah, most everything Super 7's overpriced.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever felt like Super 7 is underpriced.
No. No, we've overpaid on every Ultimate so far at the retail price, and then it
Yeah.
shows up $20 cheaper 2
Yes.
months later.
Yeah. Super 7 is over. Yeah. Like Super 7 is by default overpriced, but that's their business model. They operate out of California. Their staff is in California, and they pay higher wages, all that kind of stuff. So there's more cost baked into those.
Mhm.
And so you either like it enough to pay the overprice, which we've both, John and I, have done, or it's like it's too expensive, I don't need to do it, which is also fine.
Yeah.
Because this TMT Super 7, when TMT Super 7 is done right, it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But it is overpriced. I will never argue that it's a good price. All right, so the votes so far, we have 113 votes. Is $550 a fair price? 70% of you have said yes, 30% say no. That to me is overwhelming in terms of Michael, oh my God, Super 7 bye, you guys. Yeah, John, I've been waiting for these checks, like
I know. They could just comp us with the figures.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen either.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about this. This is $550.
Mm-hmm.
Any other sort of smaller niche company, and even at that, Super 7 is not that small anymore compared to like Mondo. And in the 6 scale Mondo He-Man was what, 250 or 235 to 250. Mm-hmm. So I think in the grand scheme of things, 550 is a good price.
Yeah. I guess 70% of us are bought. Yeah, everybody, all 7%. I think your checks are in the mail. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Everybody's checks are in the mail. You're right. Taxes and shipping, it will be higher than 550. Absolutely, but that's true of any.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Pinocchio. I generally don't accept free stuff to review, but I'd be tempted to accept that Pinocchio. I would from Super 7. I kind of wish Jay would nonchalantly dress as Maddie Mattel.
What was that? Just a crown? Did he have just a crown on?
Yeah, it was like a crown, but it was like a Jack in the Box head kind of thing.
Almost like Jughead.
Sail barge was 500. Okay. John, any final thoughts here?
Big surprise. Good surprise. I'm excited. It's going to be my birthday present to myself. It's that day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See, that's
I'm covered.
Yeah.
I don't have to freak out. What am I going to buy myself? It's a great surprise for the morning, and it's beautiful.
Agreed. Great way to start the day. A Mo Tuesday. Like, is Mattel? Are they just gonna pull it up, or are they still wait till the 12th? Like, are they gonna show anything else today that could match that?
Well, yeah. I mean, nothing's gonna match it.
No,
nothing's gonna match it. But the rumors are today will be the Camo Con announcement.
You're right. Yep. Are we gonna have to come back and stream about that? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. So hit the subscribe and the bell so you don't ever miss it. I definitely want to thank the patrons and people that help this channel grow. If you'd like to become a patron today, become one at patreon.com/geekdadlife. We had I was very inebriated post show on this past week with Ryan Dole. Oh man, I don't know. I'm still tired from all that PulseCon coverage, John. I don't know about you. I'm still kind of recovering.
Yesterday was a hard day.
Right?
Yesterday I got nothing done.
Rick Baker, that wasn't confirmed in those leaked images. I'm sure we'll know once we get the official announcement if you pay when you back or not. And I assume we'll get that information. But if they have to know, like, kind of what people expect now that the payment will go through whenever if it does back, right? That's kind of that's the standard. Even Kickstarter, that's where they're all taking this from. So that is how that goes. So I don't think we'll pay for it, but we don't know for sure. We won't know for sure until it's officially announced, or maybe more things will leak and that'll tell us along the way. Agreed. The 4-pack was overpriced. This one doesn't feel that way. And until next time, hasta luego and goodbye. Take care, everybody.